Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. I've been very excited to start this project. I've been wanting to do it for a long time. So let's get started. We're going to be talking about, hence the name, all Lakers. We're going to be talking about everything concerning the Lakers, from the trades to the roster to what should be made. Are they legitimate contenders right now? We're going to be covering a little bit of everything. But for my first video, I want to focus specifically on Summer League, and even more specifically, two players that are Colin Castleton and D'Moi Hodges. These two players have not only been getting me very excited because of their performances, but basically every Laker fan, or everyone that watches the Summer League anyway, is very excited about their performances and what they've done. And I'm going to focus on each one specifically, and I'm going to get started with Colin Castleton. This guy is just incredible, like just across the board, incredible. This guy is a two-way center that can not only block shots, but he has this like instinct or this ability to just make a split-second decision of just altering the shot just enough to where the offensive player is uncomfortable enough to not make it, but he doesn't block it to where the opponent can just run an inbounds play and then maybe get a clean jump shot off of that or a dunk or whatever. So he has this ability to just alter the shot just enough, secure the rebound, and go across the other side. Like, very few players, especially his age, he's only 23. There's very few players his age and at that position that have the ability to do that. And then on the offensive end, this guy can just do it all. He can post up smaller players if they switch on him and punish him with his size. But at the same time, he's big enough or rather he's quick enough to take bigger players to the rim and just use his lateral quickness against them and just get to the rim. He knows how to finish strong. He's bigger and bulkier, but even when he gets into the league, he'll probably put in a little bit more muscle on him, and that'll allow him to bang with the bigger players like Steven Adams, Valanciunas, Nurkic, the bigger, burlier type of players. So that'll come with time. But in terms of just his performances right now, he's giving you, like throughout the Summer League, he's giving you 15 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists. And let's say just in the league, let's say that translates to about half of his production. Let's say he gives you 8 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists. That's still pretty valuable. Like, you can really use that, especially from the center position, to where you can run your offense through him. You can run a set for him, not just through him, but for him. You can make him come off of curls and split actions and things of that nature, and he can just do that for you because he has a jump shot. The three still has a ways to go, but in terms of just the mid-range, he can shoot from either corner. He can shoot from the free throw line. He has that little in between 4 feet to about 8 feet. He has that jump shot down pat. So you could run a set for him where it's not just him finishing at the rim all the time, but he can stop a little bit short of that, hit a step back from about 10 feet, 8 feet, and that's just money. So having a player like that on the roster, especially for the Lakers, to where their center position is a little bit thin, like outside of Anthony Davis, who's going to get 30 minutes or something like that? Really, nobody. We don't really have that secondary center that we can just put out there and trust that the team is still going to succeed with him on the court. And that's really what killed the Lakers. And I'll get into this in my roster breakdown. But when you look at the previous season, what really ruined the Lakers, especially against the bigger teams like Denver, was that when AD goes to the bench, Denver just goes on a 12-3 run or a 10-0 run or whatever, because we just don't have that center that can just anchor the defense. Even if he has no offense to offer, we don't really have a guy that can just make the defense uncomfortable when they come near the rim or around the rim, outside of Anthony Davis. But obviously, he can't play all 48 minutes, so when he's out for those 10 minutes or whatever, Denver they just go on cruise control. Like, we really didn't have an answer for it. We tried a little bit with Rui. We tried a little bit with LeBron at the 5. Just didn't work. We need that 6'11", 7'1", somewhere around that range type of center that can actually alter shots at the rim. And I'm not saying Castleton is the immediate answer, obviously, but just give him some time to develop. Give him some time, especially with Phil Handy. And not only can he help you on the defensive end, like I just was talking about, but if he can extend his range to a three-point line and become a stretch big like a Brook Lopez or a Jokic or somebody like that. I'm not saying he's going to be as elite as Jokic, but just have that sort of skill set to where he can actually step outside, but at the same time punish you at the rim if you're too small. Which team isn't looking for that? So I really think the Lakers found an incredible gem with Colin Castleton. And then to move on to the other player that basically everyone's excited about, it took him a little bit to get on the radar, if you will, but D'Moi Hodges has also just been just absolutely incredible. Right, and if you look at the Lakers roster, outside of the center position, the other roster that's a little bit thin, if you will, or can use a little bit more of tweaking, is the shooting guard position. Like, outside of Reeves, who's really playing the shooting guard? You can technically move Prince there, but he's better fit at the three. He's been playing the three basically everywhere he went, not just in Minnesota, but in Atlanta and so on and so forth. He's usually the three. So if you can get a true two, a true shooting guard like D'Moi Hodge, who's basically KCP 2.0. I mean, he said it himself. He said he modeled his game after KCP. So having that 6'4", 6'5" type of 3-and-D guy that can take guard and take the opponent's best guard, whether it's a shooting guard or the point guard, and at the same time can stretch the floor for you on the other end. We've seen him in Summer League do the same thing. He was just lighting people up. I think it was the Hornets where he had like 22 on 7 threes, 7 of 13 threes. It's incredible, right? To have a player like that can just hit, like on any given night, give you 5 threes, 6 threes, whatever the case may be. Which team isn't looking for that? And it was actually one of the main reasons why Denver won. There was this one game that people really look over. It was game 2, where KCP just exploded in the third quarter. He just gave them 17 points out of nowhere, right? Jokic was in foul trouble. He couldn't really play. Jamal Murray scored very well in the first half, but in the second half, he gave you pretty much nothing, especially in the third quarter. He actually scored 0 points, like literally 0 points. But Denver was able to not only stay afloat, but they were able to actually close the gap. And then when Jokic came in the fourth quarter, they just took over the game. That's really when I thought the series was over, because it was just like, come on, man. Like, that's such a wasted opportunity. Jokic is out. Denver doesn't have it going. Really, the whole Denver team doesn't have it going. Murray specifically doesn't have it going. But you're only up 5 heading into the fourth. What happened? No Jokic for 10 minutes, and Murray's giving you nothing, and you're only up 5? I could only imagine what happened when Jokic came in, and we saw what happened. Right? Lakers lost both games in Denver, came to LA, and obviously got swept. But most of that was done with KCP. Like, people, I think, don't understand or don't grasp the importance of having that player, specifically in Denver, where they just had that 3-and-D guy that just guarded Reeves, first of all. And then on the other end, just gave him 17 out of nowhere, just kept the team afloat, kept them with a striking distance, and Denver did the rest. And even if he doesn't become as good, D'Moi Hodge, that is, even if he doesn't become as good as KCP, it's just good to have that option there, you know? So if Reeves is having a bad game, or if Reeves is injured or something like that, you want somebody that's able to step in and just fill his role, be a star in his role. Just take the best guy, even if you don't stop him. You're never going to stop these guys, the Currys, the Kyries, and so on and so forth. You're not going to stop these guys. But can you just make them shoot a little bit inefficiently? Just a little bit? If they shoot 46, 48% from the field, can you make them shoot 43, 42, somewhere around there? That's all we need, right? Because if you look at the Denver series, if I want to go back to it real quick, we lost all the games. We lost them by 24 points. If you divide that by 4, that's 6 points. We lost every game by 3 layups. That's literally it, right? The average was 3 layups. So if we can get that guy to just make the opponent's team, or the opponent's best guard rather, miss a couple shots here and there, make them uncomfortable, work for their shots, tire them out as this series goes on, that's all you can really ask for from a D'Moi Hodge or somebody like that. You're not asking him to average 25 and 10 or anything like that. Just come in, give us 6 points, 8 points, somewhere around there, and play your tail off on the defensive end. That's about it, right? Fight over screens, don't get lost on defense, watch the cut, things like that. And if he can do that for you, and if he can develop, even if it's not this year, but next year and the year after that, if those two, Castleton and Hodge, develop into rotational pieces and players that you can have on the court for 25, 30, even 35 minutes if need be, then just having that rotation piece, right? Having that core that you can add a star to, because this is Los Angeles, right? It's not very hard to get free agents here. We've been doing it since, what, the 80s, 70s even, with Kareem. So if you could just have a good team in place to where all you have to do is bring in a star or bring in 2 stars even, then, you want to set that up as soon as possible. So having these guys in, developing them, making them understand the role, most of all in improving their games, or in Castleton's case, just maybe add a little bit in terms of a dimension to his game. Because I think Hodge is complete. If you just have him play 3-and-D, that's pretty much all you need from him. You don't really need him to go off the dribble that much. You don't need him to play make. That's what the point guard is for. So I think his role is pretty much locked up. But I think Castleton's ceiling is a little bit even higher than that, where if he can get a 3-point shot and become a stretch big, like I said earlier, there's really not much this guy can't do. Like, he can basically become an all-star if he puts in the work, right? Like, this is a guy that can definitely be valuable, right? Like, even if you don't have him long-term, if you have a center that can do a little bit of everything, and you trade him, let's say, in a package with another star or for another star, then you can get a lot in return, right? It just depends. So that's pretty much my thoughts on those two players specifically, and really Summer League as a whole. I pretty much tapped out once the Lakers got bounced, so, you know, I'm not really paying attention to it outside of maybe watching like highlights of Wemby, and that's pretty much it. I'm not really going to be paying attention to it all that much. So with that being said, I appreciate all of you for watching me for my first video. I appreciate all of you taking the time to just listen to me basically ramble on about the Lakers. I appreciate all of you for it. Please like, share, subscribe, help the channel grow, and I'll see you all in the next video. Thanks once again.